Hello everyone and welcome back to Culture Code English. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and relax. Today, we are going to enjoy a fascinating story about history, politics, and the power of art. As you listen, just let the sounds wash over you. You do not need to understand every single word. Just focus on the story and let your brain absorb the natural rhythm of English. The year is 2026, and the United States is preparing for the midterm elections. Very soon, newspapers, TV channels, and social media will be filled with advertisements, speeches, and debates. And everywhere you look, you will see two very famous animal symbols: a donkey representing the Democratic Party, and a giant elephant representing the Republican Party. Have you ever wondered why a country as powerful as the United States uses a stubborn donkey and a heavy elephant to represent its two major political groups? It seems strange, doesn't it? The truth is, these symbols were not chosen by the parties themselves. They started as insults, jokes, and drawings in popular magazines over 150 years ago. Let us travel back in time to the year 1828 to discover the origin of the Democratic donkey. In 1828, a man named Andrew Jackson was running for president. Jackson was a populist. He was loud, he was stubborn, and he claimed to represent the common, everyday people of America. His political opponents hated his personality. They called him a jackass, which is another word for a donkey. They wanted to humiliate him and make him look stupid. But Jackson was a brilliant marketer. Instead of getting angry, he looked at the insult and made a clever decision. He embraced the donkey. He put a drawing of a donkey on his campaign posters. He told the voters, "Yes, I am stubborn like a donkey, but it is because I am strong-willed. I will never stop fighting for the common people." Jackson won the election and became president, but the donkey did not become a permanent symbol for his party until 40 years later, thanks to a very famous German-American cartoonist named Thomas Nast. In the late 19th century, Thomas Nast was the king of political cartoons. He drew for a popular magazine called Harper's Weekly. Nast believed that cartoons were more powerful than words because even people who could not read could easily understand a drawing. Nast took the donkey and began using it in his weekly cartoons to represent the Democratic Party. Through his drawings, the donkey became permanently stamped into the minds of the American public. But what about the Republican elephant? The origin of the elephant is also connected to Thomas Nast, and it began with a joke about a third term. In the year 1874, the Republican president, Ulysses S. Grant, was thinking about running for president for a third time. In those days, no president had ever served 3 terms. The public and the newspapers panicked. They thought Grant wanted to become a dictator. Thomas Nast drew a famous cartoon about this panic. He drew a donkey dressed up in a lion's skin, running around a forest, scaring all the other animals. One of those scared animals was a giant, heavy elephant. Nast labeled the elephant the Republican vote. Nast chose the elephant because elephants are incredibly large and strong, but they are also very easy to scare. He wanted to show that the Republican Party was powerful, but they were running away in panic because of a silly rumor. The public loved the drawing. The image of the elephant scaring easily, yet being strong and intelligent, perfectly captured the personality of the party. Soon, the Republican Party officially embraced the elephant as their proud symbol. Today, those two symbols, created by insults and cartoon jokes, are the most recognizable political logos in the world. The Democrats view the donkey as a symbol of hard work, courage, and common sense. The Republicans view the elephant as a symbol of strength, intelligence, and dignity. It is a beautiful reminder of how history works. An insult from 1828 and a cartoon joke from 1874 are still shaping how the world sees American politics today, in the year 2026. To truly understand how a donkey and an elephant became the permanent faces of American politics, we must look closer at the man who drew them. We must look at the incredible power of Thomas Nast. Today, in our modern world of the year 2026, we are surrounded by screens, video animations, and fast-paced social media. But in the late 19th century, there was no television. There was no internet. There were no photographs in newspapers. If you wanted to know what was happening in the country, you had to read long, heavy columns of text in weekly magazines. But many citizens in those days, especially the millions of new immigrants arriving in New York, could not read English well. For them, Thomas Nast's cartoons were the only window into American life. Nast's pen was more powerful than the words of any politician. In fact, Abraham Lincoln once called Nast his best recruiting general because Nast's drawings encouraged so many people to join the Union Army during the Civil War. Nast's drawings did not just reflect culture, they created it. When Nast drew the Democratic donkey and the Republican elephant, he was not just making a quick joke. He was creating a visual language. He repeated these characters week after week, month after month, in Harper's Weekly. If the Democrats did something Nast disapproved of, he drew the donkey looking stubborn, foolish, or kicking its legs in chaos. If the Republicans made a weak political decision, he drew the giant elephant running away in fear from a tiny mouse. Over 30 years, Nast drew these two animals so many times that they became alive in the minds of the voters. Eventually, politicians realized they could not fight the drawings. Instead of fighting, they decided to adopt them. But Thomas Nast's legacy goes far beyond political animals. You might be surprised to learn that Nast is also the creator of other symbols we love today. Before Nast, there was no standard image of Santa Claus. People imagined Santa in many different ways, sometimes as a tall, thin man, sometimes as a scary elf. But in 1863, Nast drew Santa Claus as a plump, jolly man with a thick white beard, wearing a fur suit, living at the North Pole. That single cartoon established the image of Santa Claus that we still celebrate today. Nast also popularized Uncle Sam, the tall, thin man with a white beard and a top hat who represents the United States government. Through the power of his pen, Nast took complex political ideas and turned them into simple, unforgettable symbols. He understood a deep psychological truth. Human beings do not connect with cold logic. We connect with stories, we connect with characters, and we connect with symbols. By understanding Thomas Nast, you are not just learning history. You are learning how the English-speaking world organizes its thoughts, its humor, and its culture. As the decades passed, the donkey and the elephant became much more than just cartoon characters. They became the official, multi-billion-dollar brands of the two most powerful political parties in the world. But how do these parties use their animal symbols today? For the Democrats, the donkey underwent a beautiful transformation. Instead of seeing the donkey as a stubborn, foolish jackass, the party chose to redefine its qualities. Today, Democrats see the donkey as a symbol of the humble working class. It represents strength, courage, determination, and a refusal to give up when life is hard. It is a symbol of common sense and hard work. For the Republicans, the giant elephant became a symbol of strength, high intelligence, and grand heritage. Republicans often refer to their party as the GOP, which stands for the Grand Old Party. They see the elephant as a dignified animal that represents a strong, stable government, wise choices, and a powerful defense of American values. Neither party officially put these animals into the U.S. Constitution, but you will see them on official party websites, campaign buttons, clothing, and even on the hats and flags of voters. This brings us back to the present. The year is 2026, and the battle between the donkey and the elephant is heating up once again because of the upcoming midterm elections. Many people outside of the United States understand the presidential election, which happens every 4 years. But the midterm elections are just as important, even though they do not choose a president. Midterm elections happen exactly in the middle of a president's 4-year term. In November of 2026, the entire country will go to the polls to vote. They will vote for every single seat in the House of Representatives and about 1/3 of the seats in the Senate. Together, these two groups make up Congress, the body of government that writes the laws for the United States. Imagine it like a giant game of political chess. Currently, the president is a Democrat, a member of the Donkey Party. If the Elephant Party wins control of Congress in 2026, they can stop the president's laws. If the Donkey Party keeps control, the president can pass his laws easily. This is why the 2026 midterms are so critical. It is a peaceful, democratic war of marketing, ideas, and symbols. Every flyer you receive, every campaign speech you hear on television, and every debate you watch online is designed to make one animal look strong and the other look weak. It is Thomas Nast's 19th century cartoon battle, played out in the digital arena of the 21st century. When you look past the noise of the 2026 campaigns, you will realize something fascinating. You are watching a tradition that is over 150 years old. The donkey and the elephant are still alive, still fighting, and still shaping the future of a nation. As we come to the end of our journey today, let us take a moment to reflect on a very important question. Why did we spend this time together on Culture Code, English, exploring the story of a donkey and an elephant? Many language learners spend all their energy memorizing long vocabulary lists. They study complicated grammar rules or translate English sentences word by word into their native language. But true fluency is not about how many grammar rules you can memorize. True fluency is about understanding the culture, the stories, and the history behind the words. When you hear a native speaker say, the donkey and the elephant, or when you see these animals on a TV screen during the 2026 midterm campaigns, you no longer just see two simple animals. Your brain now sees Andrew Jackson in the year 1828. It sees Ulysses S. Grant and the Civil War panic in 1874. It sees Thomas Nast sitting at his drawing desk in New York with a wooden pen, changing American history forever. This is the real secret to thinking directly in English without translating in your head. You are connecting English sounds directly to rich cultural concepts, deep stories, and historical memories. You do not need to translate because you now understand the context. You are no longer just studying a foreign language, you are living its history. You have been listening to this real, natural American English story for many minutes now. You did not have subtitles on, and yet you followed the narrative. Your ears are naturally adapting to the rhythm, the intonation, and the flow of the language. You are doing an amazing job. Be patient with your brain. Language learning is not a sprint. It is like watching a beautiful garden grow. Every story you listen to, every historical fact you learn, and every minute you spend here is quietly building your ear muscles and making you a stronger, more confident English thinker. Consistency is the ultimate key to success. You do not need to study for hours until you feel exhausted. Just 10 or 15 minutes of active, quiet listening every single day is enough to create extraordinary results over time. If you enjoyed discovering the secret history of these political symbols today, and if you are ready to make cultural listening a normal part of your daily English journey, I want you to make a simple, beautiful promise to yourself. Leave a small mark of your progress in the comments below right now. Type, "I learned today" in the comments. By writing these words, you are telling your brain that you are growing. You are celebrating a small victory on your path to natural fluency. Thank you so much for spending this peaceful time learning with me today on Culture Code English. Keep listening, keep practicing with patience, and never lose your curiosity. I look forward to exploring another beautiful piece of our world with you very soon. Have a wonderful, relaxing evening, and keep using English every single day.